And I am here with the new DLR Waves signing. Fullback Lynn Craven has just arrived in the door from FAI Cup winners Wexford Youths. Welcome to the club, Lynn, and how are you finding it so far?
Thanks very much. No, I'm absolutely loving it so far. The girls and the staff have been so welcoming. I think we've got off to a really good start with training as well. It was a bit frustrating personally. I missed the first week due to illness, and I was annoyed at that I couldn't be training with the girls. But no, since I've been in, everything's been so welcoming. So I'm delighted to be here.
And I know you would have known that you were signing for a few weeks before pre-season. Were you kind of given a programme to work on?
Yeah, we were given an off-season programme. John Sullivan was working really hard with us and linking in with everybody. So we were doing gym sessions, cardio sessions, plyo sessions, and all the girls seemed to really take to it. And you can see that coming into pre-season now, that we already have a little bit under our belt on further now. So definitely it was brilliant to get that in before we started.
And I know you'd know a good few of the girls from your time in Shelburne as well, the likes of Fiona Donnelly, Niamh Pryor, Jess Gleeson. So it probably hasn't been a massive adjustment getting integrated with the squad.
No, I know a lot of the girls, and I was friendly with a lot of them before it. So that obviously made it a little bit easier. Obviously, there were some girls that I didn't know that well, but from playing against them, I could see what kind of players they were. So I think I fitted in really well so far, and I just can't wait to keep going and getting closer with the team.
And it must have been a tough decision to move away from youths, particularly with the FAI Cup win at the end of last season. I know you're a teacher, and it's a long commute from Dundee to Wexford. So was that kind of a factor in your decision?
Yeah, and basically that's all that it came down to really. I did it for 3 years, and I don't know how I did it really for 3 years. It was really tough. But I enjoyed every minute of it, and that's obviously what made the travelling worthwhile. But as you said, it's my first year out now qualified, so I kind of had to find a team closer to home, and it was probably the hardest decision leaving Wexford. But once that decision was made, it was an easy decision then to come to DLR. It was the club that I knew I wanted to come to, so it was a bit of both. But no, I'm delighted with it now.
And at what stage did Graham get in touch with you? Was it close to the cup final? Had you already made your decision at that point, or?
No, I had played the cup final. I wasn't thinking about anything then, and it wasn't really till after the cup final, and he gave me a little while to settle down after the celebrations and stuff, and then he was straight on to me. And obviously I had to talk to my family and stuff. They'd be really involved in the football as well, but we knew once I was done focusing on Wexford and everything was finished, then I knew I had to start thinking about where I wanted to come. And as I said, after speaking to Graham, it was an easy decision that DLR was the club I wanted to play for.
And what in particular sold it for you? I know you've played against Waves before for both your clubs, but what was it that he said that specifically made you want to come?
Well, obviously, as I said, from playing against Waves before, the way they play and how hard they work, that was a massive thing that I could see myself fitting into. But from talking with Graham, really, from the first meeting, is just the excitement that even he had about the club and the plans he had and the goals he had. He wants to win the league, he wants to win the cup, and it's not just a team that are competing in the league. He really did show that we're going to be a team that's going to win things, and that really stood out to me. And just even the way he spoke about his players, and he's really interested in developing them all as players, but also it's such an interest in each player individually, and that stood out to me too. So it was just everything really. He said the right things, and it just made it really exciting for me to join.
And I know it's quite a young squad, but there is quite a core of players who have, like yourself, won a league title in 2016. The likes of Jess and different players who have won leagues, have won cups. So there's a huge amount of winning experience in the squad as well there, and that must have been something that kind of you felt you could tap into.
Yeah, absolutely. I was saying to even Graham before, when they're playing top teams, even from last year, I know playing with Wexford, DLR was probably the two toughest matches of the season. And I think it was just playing kind of the teams that were below DLR, where they lacked that experience. So I think having the girls like Jess, and I know Kate Mooney have won a lot of trophies, and Louise Corrigan would have a lot of experience as well. I think now that we have players that have the youth, because I think you need both, as well as the players that have the experience. I think there's a really good balance, that hopefully it pays off this season and we can get some silverware.
And I can't move on from silverware without talking about the cup final last year. I suppose it was a game of two halves, literally for you, because you came on just at the end of the first half, was it? And the game,
just early second half, yeah.
and the game kind of quickly changed from there.
Oh geez, I don't know. No, it was a game of two halves. I think the first half we didn't really show how we could have played. And then coming out in the second half, you'd nothing really to lose. And I think the Wexford team that I was with, we just showed the footballing that we can play. And I think the fitness then showed as well coming out into the second half. And we nearly excelled on as the game kept going. And then speaking of that with DLR, I think the fitness that and the running that we're doing now, hopefully that stands to us and we could be in a similar position November coming this year.
And I suppose the experience, I know the crowd probably wasn't what it could have been due to COVID and everything, but playing in the national team stadium, playing in such a great venue, it must have been I suppose the feeling at the final whistle must have been amazing.
Yeah, geez, you can't even describe the feeling. I've played in the FAI Cup when it was in the Aviva and now in Tala. So there was a big difference. I know the excitement about Aviva, but the difference really was the crowd, that although there wasn't as much of a crowd as we would have liked, having everybody so close and in a smaller stadium, I think did really stand out. And obviously there was a great turnout from both teams. So yeah, when that final whistle went, couldn't believe it. We're delighted.
And you're coming into the team now. I know you wouldn't be the oldest player in the world, but it's quite a young squad. So you will be one of the experienced players, one of the players with a winning record, I suppose. How do you see yourself in that role? You're going to have to take on a bit of leadership.
Yeah, it's mad to think 23 you've just turned, and it's one of the most experienced thing. But I think it's exciting. I'm excited to show the younger girls that it can be done and medals can be won, and anything can happen in football. But at the same time, I'm excited to learn from them. They've obviously had a different background and they've had different experiences growing up, like a lot younger than me. So I'm just excited to give things to the team in terms of experience, but also take things from the team and learn a lot.
And I remember before the cup final last year, talking to Nicola Sinna, who obviously is a teacher as well, and she was kind of talking about the younger players in the team, like during training, maybe sometimes when they're studying for the leaving cert, they're asking questions like, "What's this mean? What's that?" Is that something that you're prepared to do as well?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm a primary teacher, so I won't be dealing as young as that. But yeah, of course, if anybody need anything help like off the pitch, I definitely be up for that as well. I think that's as important, and I can see that in DLR, that everybody's there for each other on the pitch and giving advice, but if not more, they're all there for each other in their personal lives as well. So that's something that I really like about the team as well.
And it's a coincidence, I suppose, that yourself and Sophie Waters come into the team this year. You're both from Dundalk, and you both came up through a big footballing town, but maybe a town that hasn't had a National League side in an awful long time. Can you tell me a little bit about, I suppose, growing up and playing in Dundalk and what the opportunities were?
Yeah, I started playing probably when I was 4 or 5, and there was no girls team at the time at all. So I kind of just went where the friends were going on the street, and that was Key Celtic. And Sophie had played for that club as well. So I played with the boys team up until probably under 12s, and then from then on a girls team was made. And I think I played for the girls team for 2 years, and from then on I signed for Shell. So there wasn't really much while I was growing up in Dundalk in terms of girls teams, but compared to what they have now, most clubs now in Dundalk have a girls team. And even from being a teacher, like a lot of the young girls in my class and in the school and stuff, they're all playing with girls team, and it's like I'm telling them how lucky they are, because I didn't have that opportunity when I was younger. You were with the boys and stuff, so I think it's good for them to be playing with girls at their own ability and at their own level, and they can see that they can progress up the whole way with women's teams. So yeah, it's looking promising, definitely.
And just in terms of your own position and looking promising, what are your immediate feelings about this season? How well do you think the team can do?
Yeah, I definitely think we can win it. Graham was on the same page as myself starting off, that I wasn't going to come to a team that's just there to compete and turn up every week. I definitely think DLR can definitely go and win the league. I think last year, as I said, they got good results against the so-called top teams, and it was kind of the lower teams that they struggled against. So I think now with the experience and just belief that we actually can go and win it, we just have to take each game as it comes, and hopefully we get the 3 points, build up a good momentum, and then look at the end of the season, hopefully we have a little bit of silverware. But I definitely think it's doable, and we've been putting in the preparation, and Graham has a set up with I think 5 or 6 pre-season friendlies. So by the time March comes around, we'll already have hit the ground running, and I think it's looking very promising, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know if Graham and John will thank us too much for putting that pressure on them, but
I know, yeah.
let's hope that everything goes exactly the way that you said it would. Thanks a million
Yeah,
for talking to us,
hopefully.
Lynn.
No problem. Thanks for having me.